Hey, so did you know that President Abraham Lincoln was actually from Pennsylvania? True story. Haven't you heard of his Gettysburg Address? Sorry. Anyway, so in this video, we're going to talk about the new project. And I'm going to go over the project rubric, and then I'm going to go over a website that's going to help you to complete the project. So on Schoology, you'll see this rubric, and you'll get a rubric like this for each of the assignments, or the project assignments that we do this year. This is project 1, and the rubrics will always tell you when it was assigned and when it is due. You will turn it in through Schoology. Even if we were here in the classroom or studio, that's what you would be doing. I would go over this in person, obviously. You can ask questions. So if, as I'm going through it, you have any questions, please message me or email me to let me know what your questions are so that I can help. Now, the rubric will always give you this grading checklist, and you'll need to make sure, like you would get this in paper if we were here, but you'll just need to make sure that you can say yes to all of these things before you submit your PowerPoints, okay? So now we're going to talk about the project itself. You're going to take 10 total photographs, one for each of the compositional formulas that you'll find in the article that I'm going to link to you. They're listed here in the order that you'll find them in the article. So the article explains what they are, and I'm going to talk just briefly about what they are, but you're going to take up your version of that. Now you must take all of the pictures. This isn't go find pictures on the internet. You need to take pictures. You can use whatever camera, phone, whatever you have to take the pictures. And in one of the other videos that you'll see, I'm going to talk about an app that you can get for your phone that will help you take better pictures with your phone if your phone is all you have right now to use. So we're going to talk about the article now. The article is called 10 Top Photography Composition Rules, and it lists each one of the rules, and then it gives an example. So this is a great resource to help you explain and understand what the rules are, but also to see in action how they're expressed visually. So the first is the rule of thirds. Rule of thirds is something specific to photography. It translates to dividing your frame up into 3 equal parts, both horizontally and vertically. And then where those crosshairs meet, kind of that tic-tac-toe square, you need to have something of interest on each one of those crosshairs. Now in this example, the lighthouse is on the 2 crosshairs here. So it doesn't have to be something that's just on those, but you don't want it to be on all 4, one object on all 4, because then it sort of eliminates the purpose. The second compositional form is called balancing elements. So what you need is something that divides the space and balances it. Think of it like a teeter-totter, right? So you have this shape and form on this side, and you have this shape and form on this side. They're not identical or symmetrical, but they balance each other out. Leading lines. This is something that we use regularly with photography. A line that travels through the space of the image to guide the viewer's eye along that line. So roads work well, railings on buildings, anything architectural could work well for this. Just look for lines that flow through a space or move through a space, and the more interesting the better. You know, straight lines are not as interesting as curvy or zigzag lines. Symmetry and pattern. So this is more specifically space that's divided into symmetrical forms or patterns. So look for those patterns and try and find symmetry, either linear symmetry like this or radial symmetry, so circular symmetry around a single point. Viewpoint or point of view. This is something that's different, right? So think about a point of view that is either dramatically from above or below or from a strong angle. In this case, looking dramatically down at the subject from high above. That's called bird's eye view. You could also have what's called worm's eye view if it's looking dramatically up from below. Background or shallow background in this case. So shallow background means there's very little depth in the field, so you don't really see much behind the figure. She's against this black background, flat black space and color. And then we focus on the object that's in the extreme foreground. Depth, this is the exact opposite. So lots of space, going deep into the space. Landscapes work best for this because you can get so much space in this big landscape. So look for interesting landscapes. You know, what makes this an interesting photograph is not just the amount of space in it, but what's in the space. So you're looking down into that valley, you've got the sheep in the foreground. It makes it a more dramatic and interesting image. Framing. So in this case, natural framing. So looking for shapes that create a frame. So this dark shape here frames the sky, and then the reflection of it frames the water. Cropping. So getting very close to an object, cutting off parts of it so that you feel more intimate and connected to your subject. And then finally, experimentation. So creating an image that doesn't fit any of those other specific models, but you're experimenting with something that you think is unique to you or to your photographs. So you're going to take one picture for each one of these that you think represents that compositional rule well, and then you're going to put it into a PowerPoint. We're also going to be learning some basic editing techniques soon that you can use and apply to this project. Back to the rubric for a second. You notice that it's not due until this due date, so you have a significant amount of time to get this finished. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to be talking to you about some of the fundamentals of photography and camera operation, and those fundamentals, the basics of editing. So we're going to be beginning that next week as well. All right, so if you have any questions or you don't understand something about the project, please shoot me a message or email me, and I look forward to seeing you soon.